Hey guys, it's Janice from Ozark Family Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how I make our whole grain bread out of spelt and hard red wheat. Right now I'm catching up on a whole bunch of kitchen things that I have not gotten done, so I am bundling a whole bunch up. I've got yogurt going. I've already taken it up to 180 degrees. Now it's dropping down. I'm at 160 now. We're going to let that sit. I've got some bone broth. I've just started it up. It has not even come to a boil yet. And it's going to go for 48 hours. And then I've got supper here. We're having gumbo tonight. So it's just simmering in the pot over here. And I'm going to let all this stuff go while we go over here and work on that whole grain bread. So here we go. Okay, as far as I know, this is Janice's recipe. I have taken some recipes that I found online and tweaked them a bit because I haven't found any that used both spelt and hard red wheat that I liked. And this one we like, and I've been making it for years. So these are the ingredients that I use to make the whole grain bread. In addition to this, I do already have my spelt grain in the grain mill. This is hard red wheat here. The spelt grain, let me grab some of that and I'll show you the difference. Spelt in my hand and hard red wheat in the measuring cup. They look very, very similar, but they are different grains. So what I'm going to do is get this going in the grain mill, and then we will head back over here and mix it all up together here in a little bit. Okay, here is the spelt in the grain mill. It's poured into the top here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up. It is going to be loud, so prepare yourself. We'll get it started, and then I will come back when it's all that grain up here is turned into flour down here. All right, here we go. All right, we're ready for the next step. The grain mill has ground up all of that spelt. It's all down in here now, and it's a flour. What I do now is I beat up the grain mill just a little bit because there will be loose flour in here, and I try to get it to settle down in this canister as much as I can. So I'm going to whack it a little bit like this and loosen it up some. Settle that flour, and it's coming out in here. This is the little filter, and I'm going to do this a little bit again because there's flour on the underside of this lid. And then I'm going to open it up. I'm just trying to collect as much of these little leavings as I can because we don't waste things in this house. That's what I tell the children, at least. Okay. I'm going to do this again with the hard red wheat, but I'm going to set this aside because we do still have to do the hard red wheat. Okay, now we will head back over to the kitchen island and start measuring things out. All right, what I need now is I need 7 cups of spelt flour. This little canister here is things I had left over from the last time that I made bread. Since this is a whole grain flour, it's not just going to keep for a long time like your regular store-bought white flour would. This will go rancid faster because the whole grain is in that flour. So if I have any left over from a previous bread making, I keep these in the freezer, in my little kitchen freezer here, and I do the same thing with the hard red wheat also. I just keep it in a different canister. We do still use this for other things besides bread making. When we do oats for breakfast, we do soak it the evening before, And we do add some of the spelt flour in there to aid in the soaking process as well. So you'll notice there's a lot less spelt flour left over than there will be the hard red wheat flour. So I'm going to use this up first. I want 7 cups of this spelt flour. And once I use all of this up, then I will start digging in on this freshly ground flour. And I always have to count out loud. The children know when Mama is counting out loud for making bread, because if I get distracted, I will lose count and my bread will be messed up because I will not have the right amount of cups of flour in there. So, 1. And we can come back when I get all 7 cups in there. You all probably have the idea of how to dump cups of flour into the bowl. 2 and 7. That's it for the spelt flour. Okay, I still have some left here, and I am now going to dump this in here, and this is going to go back in my freezer, and we will use this remaining flour up for those soaked oats, or it'll just be sitting and waiting on me for next week whenever I need to bake bread again. So now that this is empty, I am ready to start on the hard red wheat, which is here. I'm going to go dump this in the grain mill and get this ground up into flour. Okay, we're just going to put this back together. This slides on here. Make sure that filter's in place and it slides right in. I'll dump the hard red wheat in there. Plug it up and we go for round 2. Alright guys, and we're back. It is, I don't know if you can tell, the lighting is much better because this is the next day. My allergies kicked in hard and fast last night, and so we ate that gumbo that I was making and I shut things down. So my hard red wheat did get ground up into flour though, and the bone broth is still just simmering away there on the stovetop. It will not be ready until tomorrow because it goes 48 hours. I do have my yogurt. I don't know, Sarah, can you show that? My yogurt has been sitting on the counter wrapped up here overnight. I haven't even unwrapped it yet for today. Oh, there we go. It's thickened up very nice. So I'll label these with a Sharpie with the date on there, and those will end up going in the fridge later on today. But we're going to go work on this bread, and I'm going to get it finished today. So let's go start again. Okay, so just like we started last night with the spelt flour, we're going to do the same thing with this hard red wheat. I'm going to start off using up my leftover flour from the last batch of bread. And I am going to do 7 cups again, just like I did with the spelt flour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. To save you guys some time, I'm going to set this aside and I'll deal with this part later. The next part we're going to go with now is adding the rest of the dry ingredients in here to this big old bowl of flour. And that's going to be our yeast and salt. I start off with my salt. 1 rounded tablespoon of salt. Yeast. 1½ rounded tablespoons of yeast. I'm just going to gently incorporate the salt and the yeast in there with this flour. And then we're going to go with the wet ingredients, the olive oil and the honey. I always do the olive oil first, and I need a half cup. Okay, now the reason I do the olive oil first is honey is sticky. And if I put the sticky honey in here first, it's going to make a mess. But if I put the olive oil in first and I kind of swirl it around slightly inside that measuring cup, it will lubricate the entire inside of the cup. And then when I go to put my honey in this same cup, it should slide out pretty easily. I felt pretty smart when I figured that out because I battled sticky cups there for the longest time. All right, the honey. My honey has just about crystallized. It's not a liquidy honey anymore, so I do scoop it out with spoons here. I hope you guys can see. I'm going to do 2/3. I don't know if you can hear the 2-year-old. She's here. She's squealing. She's coming this way. Oh no. What happened to your hair? What happened? Does Mama need to fix it? Yeah. 2/3 cup of honey. Is Mama making bread? Making bread. Bread? You like bread? Sarah saves the day. All right, I've got 2/3 in here now. Yep, and watch it. Watch it just slide right out. Oh, see, that makes me happy. It's those little things that make me happy. Okay, cleaning up my spoon. Now, this is not going to mix up well. It's just a big gloopy mess here. Don't even try to stir it up at this point because you're not going to get very far. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add hot water to this, which will then make the honey and the oil melt, basically, and it'll all stir up a lot easier then. Okay, I'm going to get 4 cups of hot water, and Sarah, let's pause right here while I get the hot water going in the sink. Okay, I just filled this up with hot water straight from the tap. I put it on as hot as it would go and filled it up to about 4 cups full. Now, let's see if you can see that, how gloopy it is. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. And it's warming up that honey and that oil. It is very full right now. And I am going to very carefully start from the outer edge, go from the bottom, and turn things to the inside, the center of this bowl. I am not going to mix this up thoroughly. My KitchenAid mixer is going to do that for me, but I am going to get it all incorporated together here so I don't have a whole bunch of flour just sitting accumulated at the bottom of this bowl that the mixer doesn't touch. I'm helping my KitchenAid a little bit here. Okay, that's probably good enough right there. We're going to go ahead and pause here again, and we will move everything over to where the KitchenAid is, and we will pick up over there. Okay, over here at my handy dandy KitchenAid. I've had this since 2002, and I love it. It helps me out so much. So I should have shown you over there at the kitchen island. I saved one of my honey spoons, and that is what I use to scrape this big old wooden spoon because it's sticky with all the stuff on there. And you'll want to clean up that spoon. And we're going to get this going in the KitchenAid for 10 minutes using the dough hook. And at the end of that 10 minutes, it should be all incorporated together into a nice dough. Okay, and then I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. After I plug it in, don't forget to plug your KitchenAid in. If you started off at too high of a speed, too fast, you will have flour poof, everywhere. So I started off slow and then give it a little bit more speed. All right, set my timer for 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. All right. We ready for the next step? Okay, next step. We have a dough now, not a floury, gloopy mess. And my hands are buttered because I've been buttering these, and Anna helped a little bit. Anna helped. So, okay. I'm going to make sure my countertop is also buttered. You can use olive oil or whatever you want to use. I like plain old butter. And we're going to pull that dough out. Now also, because we don't waste food in this house, I scrape this bowl. I just use my butter knife that I already had sitting here. And I scrape out all the little pieces of dough. All right. This out of the way. Now we start dividing it up into 4 relatively similar lumps because we are making 4 loaves of bread. And again, I'm just using that same butter knife, and I'm going to roughly divide it up into 4 sections. Is your counter buttered there?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead and start working on that one. And we're going to start turning it into loaves. Sarah, can you see from there? Is that better? Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. I'm taking it from the outside and pushing it in with the heel of my hand. I'm listening for any air bubbles. I'm not hearing any with this one. After I've done that, then I'm going to take it, and the way I describe this to children is it's like got a steering wheel of a car, and I'm driving the steering wheel. We're driving around, and I'm pinching the back side of the dough. You can see the pinching part. You can't really see the driving like a steering wheel part though. And I do that for a little bit and then plop it back down. And then I go around the edge. I pull in and press down. Pull in and press down. And I have a little bowl shape here with a crater in the middle. And then I pull the edges together and I pinch, 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 pinch. And poke down those pinches. And then just for good measure, I don't know if this does any good, but it makes me happy, I plop it down. Okay, and then we put it in the loaf pan. Is yours ready? Okay, another one. And we're going to do the same thing. Around on all the sides with the heel of my hand. Pick it up, and I'm going to do that steering wheel. We're driving. You got your steering wheel ready? From the outside, and press down to the inside. Making a little bowl here. You got it? Pull it in and pinch, 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 pinch. And whack it. I don't know if any of this is scientific, but this is the way we do it, and it works. So, next step is these are going to go in the oven. Now, you may or may not have noticed, but I have not preheated my oven because you're not supposed to with this recipe. I am going to put these non-baked loaves here into a cold oven for 30 minutes, and I'm going to let it rise inside that cold oven. I am going to turn the light of my oven on so it does raise the temperature a little bit there, and 30 minutes from now they should be ready to bake. So that's what I'm doing next. Okay. Light on, timer set for 30 minutes. All right, and now we wait. Okay, the timer has gone off, and we're going to check on them and see. Here's what they look like, and that's a decent rise for this bread. It's going to rise more as it bakes. Here's what I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to leave it in the oven, and the oven is still cold. I'm going to set it at 350 for 35 minutes, and the bread is just going to begin to bake as the oven is preheating and finally reaches temperature. So 350 for 35 minutes. And then we will see what it looks like. Sometimes I do an additional 5 minutes if they aren't as golden brown as I'd like them to be. But this is what we're going to set it at, and we'll come back and hopefully they'll be beautiful. Okay guys, the timer has gone off and I think they're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out of the oven. They look good. After I get them out, I'm going to turn them out onto these cooling racks. And we will let them cool for a while. Okay. Let's see if they come out. Yay. Anna did a good job buttering those pans. Oh, you guys, they smell so good. There we go. Okay, so I will now let these just cool on these cooling racks, and then this evening I'll take one of the loaves and I'll pull it off to set aside in the pan in the cabinet, and we'll just eat off that one fresh. The other three I'll put in the freezer, and through the week as we need another loaf we'll pull it out. It will be frozen, so I will set it inside this wall oven over here, and it can thaw, and I don't have to worry about flies getting on it or anything. And the next morning it's ready to go. We can slice it up, put it in the toaster. I also use this for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's just a very versatile loaf, and we really enjoy it. So the reason I made this video today is because someone asked me to in the comments. So if you have a video that you would like to see us make, please put it in the comments below, and I will do my best to make a video if I can. Otherwise, that's it. If you liked this video, go ahead and give us that big thumbs up, and make sure you are subscribed to our channel and share it with everybody, please. And I guess I'll just see you on the next video. Bye, guys.